Hi there, welcome to my third 10-minute moan of today, and the topic of this 10-minute moan is the life sentence, but at least 28 years served on Anjem Choudary, excuse me, the Islamic preacher who's been causing a lot of people a lot of concern over the last 30 years with his behaviour, and operation that ran with police in the UK, Canada and America finally led to his arrest, his conviction, and obviously his sentence today. So he's been jailed for life with a minimum of 28 years for directing terrorist propaganda operation aimed at encouraging attacks, spreading messages of hate and division. That's what he was charged with. He is 57 just now, so he's obviously going to come out an old man if he comes out at all. And he's from Ilford, East London. He helped found the al-Muhajiroun group in 1996, which obviously he's had control of for 28 years, running operations under dozens of different names, including Islam for UK and Muslims Against Crusaders, etc. Disclosed that members have been linked to at least 21 different terrorist plots, and senior members travelled to Syria, where two of them joined the ISIS execution squads. He was associated with Lee Rigby's killer, Michael Bolaggio, and London Bridge terrorist Karim Butt, the fishmonger's hall attacker Usman Khan. So this man's had notorious connections for a long, long time. He celebrated 9/11 attacks as a towering day in history. Spent much of his time with telling fellow Muslims that they were apostates for voting or participating in democratic processes like elections, etc. So he was in Woolwich Crown Court wearing a white t-shirt, stood with his hands in his pockets as he was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 28 years. Mr. Justice Wall told Choudary that he had views that were entrenched and abhorrent to most right-thinking people, and he would continue to spread his messages of hate and division if he was allowed to. The judge says that Choudary had been front and centre in an organisation designed to encourage and support acts of terrorism, and that he sought to groom young people into your way of thinking. It was impossible to say which particular terror acts he offered specific encouragement to, but Choudary directed an organisation which was determined to support and encourage those who carried out such activities and ran the risk of causing or contributing to the deaths of very many people. Organising such as yours normalise violence in the pursuit of an ideological cause, the judge added. Their existence gives individuals the courage to commit acts which otherwise they might not. They drive wedges between people who otherwise could and would live together in a peaceful coexistence. Umar Bakri Mohammed, the group's leader, labelled the 7/7 attackers as the Fantastic Four before he fled the UK in August 2005, claiming he'd shut down the organisation 9 months earlier. But Bakri was jailed in Lebanon in 2014. Choudary took over as a leader, but was arrested and jailed himself 4 months later for encouraging support of ISIS. His licence conditions expired in July 21, and he began trying to rebuild the organisation, delivering over 40 lectures in 1 year to audiences up to 150 across the world, communicating directly with recruits as young as 14 on WhatsApp and Telegram. Police in Britain and the US and Canada had been running separate investigations as they became concerned that Choudary was seeking to recruit a new generation of younger followers. Deputy Commissioner Rebecca Weiner from the New York Police Department described how they sent the Crown Jewel undercover officers to London to testify against Choudary, a shamelessly prolific radicaliser. NYPD had placed 2 undercover officers referred to as OP488 and OP377 in the group's branch in New York called the Islamic Thinkers Society. In his first speech recorded by NYPD undercover officers on the 12th of June 2022, Choudary boasted that so many people became Shahid al-Madula, which means martyrs, praise God. He said he'd been labelled the #1 radicaliser in Britain, adding that that's a badge of honour for me. It's a medallion of my chest. What do they call me? An extremist, fanatical? All of these. In another recording on the 22nd of June, Choudary told him, you know, we always managed to escape prosecution. You know, no one has ever been prosecuted in this country for being a member of al-Muhajiroun. In a discussion with members of the Islamic Thinker Society on the 26th of March last year, he advised them to set up a series of different platforms, adding, we ended up having loads of them. If you look into the Terrorist Act, they listed about 15. There was another 45 we used to use. So this is just the style and means, brother. He also encouraged followers to fight the Crusaders and told them on 19th of February last year, there is no doubt jihad is obliged upon us. A week later, on the 26th of February, Choudary told his audience, is terrorism part of the deen, which is faith? Yes, even more. Horrifying is part of the deen, even to horrify the people. MI5 had bugged Chowdhury's home, and in a conversation with his wife, Rubina, on the 22nd of March last year, he told her that impact is there. Al-Muhajiroun has gone down in history, and that's why they say 40% of all things associated with us, the impact was phenomenal globally. The figure appears to be the reference to the entry in Chowdhury's Wikipedia page. On the 30th of April last year, the covert listening devices picked up Choudary updating Bakri, who had recently been released from jail, on the numbers on members of the group and asking for advice on their next steps. He spoke about his role as Bakri's deputy and how he had taken on the role of caretaker emir. Khalid Hussain, 29, a member of his ITS living in Edmonton, Canada, who idolised Choudary, helped him run an online magazine called Al-Azhar, Prisoners. Hussain, who worked as a co-op petrol station and convenience, messaged Choudary on the 16th of July last year to arrange to meet him on his journey through London to Turkey to meet a Russian bride. Choudary replied with some advice on the best tourist spots in South London, including Cutty Sark, Greenwich Park, and great shopping nearby. He also added, you're also not too far from Woolwich, the famous Lee Rigby issue. Choudary was arrested when Hussain arrived from Canada on the 17th of July last year. Interviewed by police, he insisted his lectures were nothing to do with al-Muhajiroun, adding, when I say us or we, I'm always talking about me. I'm talking about my experiences, and I'm talking about people in the UK. In no shape or form am I ever addressing them in the use of those pronouns. Choudary was guilty of directing a terrorist organisation and encouraging support for prescribed organisations. Hussain was found guilty of membership of a prescribed organisation and jailed for 5 years. Commander Dominic Murphy, head of Scotland Yard's counter-terrorism command, said for 30 years, Anjem Choudary has been pretty constant presence in counter-terrorism. His influence as a radicaliser is well known, but the reality of that impact around the world is that there are individuals who have conducted terror attacks or travelled for terrorist purposes as a result of Anjem Choudhary's radicalising effects on them. Now, I'm delighted this man's put away for such a long time, but one thing that is concerning is, how did it take so long? How many lives could have been saved if this was done sooner? I don't think there was many people in the UK could have told you what Anjem Choudary was doing. But he had 30 years to run his operation in his evil empire. And I just hope that this is the opening of a new dawn, where these types of people either learn from what's happened to Anjem Choudary, or our people, our police forces and our security services, start to deal with them quicker and more widespread, because this evil is on our doorstep. And how many people has this man radicalised in 30 years that are still active right now in the United Kingdom? And that's disappointing. However, if you want to see more of these types of videos, hit thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing and hitting the notifications bell, and you'll be told when I release any videos. Apart from all that, try your very best to stay safe and have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.